In today's lesson, we're going to go through and talk about how we can use mirror and circular pattern to make our 3D modeling a little bit easier. So right here we see just a basic plate that we're going to create today. And this is a common type of thing that we'll see in our projects and competitive robotics all the time. Many of you have created things like this where you have something that's patterned throughout the shape. Over here we have this 5/8 hole, and there's 8 of them that go in this circular pattern. Now, many of you, when you create this type of thing, you might draw an inner circle, an outer circle, and then maybe a construction circle here and draw circles on it. There's a couple of ways you can do this. I like to try to make things as easily changeable as possible, because when we make these things in real life, we often have to iterate. We have to change these things because they don't quite work right the first time. Things almost never work right the first time. We have to make things easily changeable. And even if they do work right, well, something else might need to be changed or added that affects it, and then it needs to be modified. Or maybe even you want to use it on a future project and it needs to be a little bit different. So it's always best from a design standpoint to start with the framework of, I'm going to have my design be easily modifiable so that I can apply it many times. I can change it around. Today we're going to go through, I have 2 that I'm going to model for you, and then 3 that I'm going to have you guys do. I want you to go along with me as I'm doing the models and complete those as well. So let's start with this circular one here. So I'm going to start a sketch, and I'm going to do it on the top view. Snap to the top view, and I'm just going to draw 3 circles: my inner circle, my outer circle, and the hole. So you might notice that the proportions of these things are totally off. This is something I almost always do because I want to make sure I never get confused and accidentally leave an incorrect dimension. So if I, let's say, drew this hole too close to the correct size, I might just leave it because I didn't realize that it was wrong. Okay, now that I've drawn these 3, I'm going to dimension this inner one to be 3 inches in diameter. So 3. I'm going to dimension the outer one to be 5 3/4 in diameter. Okay, so now that I have my inner and outer ones, I can work on this hole here. Now, I'm not going to dimension this one just yet, even though I normally would, because I want to show you guys something. So I'm going to go to circular pattern, which is up here in my ribbon. If you ever can't find something in your ribbon, you can just type it into this search bar here. So that's right here, or you can hit Alt-C for search, and then I'll type in circular pattern. And you get a preview on the side of kind of what this does. It replicates something in a circular pattern about some center, and then it walks you through the steps of using it. You select the tool, you select the entities to pattern, you specify the number of instances, and so on and so forth. So we're going to select circular pattern, we're going to select the circle, and it's going to automatically give us 3. We want 8, so we're going to hit 8, hit enter, and see what that does for us. Okay. You can also change the direction if you don't have as many. You can change the angle here, but it looks good to me. So I'm just going to click again to end that. And then I need to set the dimension of these. The dimension right now is very small. I need it to be 5/8 in diameter. So I'm going to select that one circle. I'm going to set it to 5/8 in diameter. And you'll see that all of these change with it. By the way I did that dimension, I hit D on my keyboard to dimension and typed in 5 divided by 8, and it changed all of them. If I need to modify it again in the future, I can make it 1 inch. I can make it whatever I want. 5/8. Okay. And the last thing we need to do is place these circles away from our center the proper distance. So if we look over here, The diameter of this is 4 3/8. So actually what I can do is I can dimension the distance between these two to be 4 plus divided by 8. Like the center here shifted. So I'm going to select this center, and I'll make that distance 0. So it snaps in position. Okay. This is really nice because if I want to change anything, it just becomes a matter of, I can change that to 2. I can change it back to 4 plus 3 divided by 8. I can make many modifications to this. Okay, now that I have made my 2D sketch, it's time to extrude, which is up here. You can also Shift E for extrude, and it'll auto-select the region. I'll rotate by clicking my right-click on my mouse and moving the screen around. And we're just going to make this extrude. Let me move this out of the way. Okay, we're going to make this extrude. Let's call it 0.25 inches. And there we go. We've made ourselves a little plate. That is done. So that's it for this video. In the next video, we're going to go through and talk about mirror and make this second model piece. But just to review what we did here, we used a circular pattern to replicate this hole in 8 spots. And this way, I can go back into the sketch if I ever need to, modify the size of the hole. Say I want to make it 1/2 inch. And if I exit the sketch, it'll modify the full piece. If I go back into the sketch and I want to modify the size of the outer circle, it'll modify the piece. Press Control Z and go back to what it's supposed to be. Okay, so that's it for circular pattern. I'll see you for the next video on mirroring.